Welcome to the Stiff Arm. This is really me. I am Ron Mexico. Joining me on the Stiff Arm, awake from his vacation as well, but he's been more at work than I am. Listen, I'm half Hispanic. I have the right to slack off. This is a white dude. So, Charlie, India, Charlie. Oh, by the way, views and opinions of the Stiff Arm with Ron Mexico and not those of TMV Cafe, its affiliates, nor its sponsors. Charlie, sorry, I had to cut you off in the middle of things. I made a white man joke. I don't want cards and letters.
We had to do the disclaimer before I even get to say hello.
Look at that. That was like within 30 seconds I had the disclaimer for the show this year.
Good to be here, buddy. Again, this is the first offering of the Stiff Arm with Ron Mexico on YouTube. Hope you guys enjoy it. Although looking at these, well, especially this face, I'm not sure how this is going to work out for us, but we're going to give it a shot.
Yeah, so. You'll understand why we've never been on television. This is exactly why. But anyway,
yeah, when you do that on the show, now they're going to be able to see that.
I forgot about that shit. So yeah, well, been in hibernation since the Super Bowl. As we all know, we take our little spring break, so to speak. Unfortunately, it's not Daytona Beach beer funneling, and it's usually more house chores than anything else that I had to get done. Him drinking, for me, it's being beaten by Delta or Daryl, whatever the hell her name is, Daryl Mexico, and making sure I get my shit done around the house. But plus, let's be honest, there's not much going on from the time of the Super Bowl, at least football-wise. There ain't a whole hell of a lot.
Well, there hasn't been in past years, but I'm telling you, with the trade, I've never seen so much free agency action in the first couple of weeks. This is amazing.
This is what this is the second week.
Yeah, this is the second week. But even before the started, Revis and LaShawn McCoy, big names were getting traded and dealt even before the thing started. So
what's more surprising that it's trades and not so much because usually it's guys just get cut and they get signed and that's it. Now it's been like people move, but a lot of teams I think are doing the trade route because it forces the other team to take on that salary. If you still cut a guy, I don't completely understand the ins and outs of the salary cap, nor do I really give a shit.
Yeah.
But especially when I play it on Madden, I always turn the salary cap off anyway because I just want to play football. I don't give a fuck about managing. You got to sign this guy. Especially now. We Christmas time, Santa Claus brought us a Xbox One.
Yes, I remember.
So I started playing Madden 15 on the Xbox One, and now they have it to where you can make yourself. You can be a player on the team now, but all you control is just that player. You can be an owner where you just control the players. You can be an owner where you create the price of hot dogs, build a new stadium.
You can be Jerry Jones.
Parking, taking guys on trial for murder. They have everything now. It's very, very real. Look, that's in the game, EA. You need to have players getting. Why not? You already got games like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty where you're killing people and beating up hookers. Why not incorporate that into the NFL? Have a player go on a run. There could be like a special segment with you drive the white Bronco. It could be a crossover with Grand Theft Auto guys. Just saying, just putting it out there.
I think it's hilarious. We're looking at the finished product of the game, but the thing about that is some geek numbnuts has sat there and wrote a zillion hours of boring ass code to make it to where you can tell the price of the hot dogs.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they do.
I actually tried getting a job with EA. They're located here in at least the division that makes the NFL game. I don't know if the Canadian one, I'm assuming, is in the North Pole. I don't know. But I tried to get a job with them as a game tester. We're talking
cheap. Nobody's ever tried that
before. Well, first of all, I went into it thinking this is gonna be a real job, and you're gonna get medical benefits and a decent pay rate. And the guy's like, "Yeah, we'll pay you $8 an hour." And is there health insurance? And they almost laughed at me. So they laughed.
You're sitting on a piano. What are you gonna do? Hurt yourself?
Well. My track. Hello, I am the guy that flew down a hallway and tripped over his own goddamn feet.
That is true. Wow.
So, so I took it as an opportunity. I said, well, I'm not going to really take this job. I'm going to blast some of your video games. And there was a video game series that EA made. It was called, oh shit, I was going to confuse. It's not Call of Duty is Activision. The other one is Medal of Honor. It's called. Yeah. And I started playing Medal of Honor on the old PlayStation 1. And I had some versions of the PlayStation 2. Fuck you, I'm old. What the fuck is that dinosaur you got sitting down there?
Hey, that's my wife.
So that's on video and audio.
Yeah, she doesn't
screwed both ways.
She doesn't watch.
So I started.
Just kidding.
So I took it as an opportunity to bash them on their game. They had a game where they had these German shepherds that were on on their hind legs and firing weapons and driving half tracks. I said, listen, man, I know the Nazis were into some crazy shit, but I'm sure there were no German shepherds driving fucking half tracks and shooting, Panzer Shreks at me. This is fucking bullshit. I just went off on them. Oh, thank you very much, sir. And I'm lucky I can still buy their games to this day. But,
absolutely.
But the bigger story, like we said, and that led me to another headache. What I used to always do with my games is I would spend hours updating rosters, and I don't know how many thousands of trees I killed printing out the roster. I mean, now thank God we got tablets, and you can just sit and go, oh, if you want to do it that way on the game.
See, I've never played any of the sports games, the basketball, football. Never played any of those. I'm a first-person shooter kind of guy, but I mean, because I see how involved people get in this stuff, and I just thought it's just a damn game. I don't want to get that crazy.
I mean,
but it makes it easier for people like my stepson can go in and he can tell you the name of some kid that came out of Southwest North Dakota State, in college because he's got him on his team or he picked him up, and it does help you actually play real. I mean, not play, but watch real life because the guys from the game. I never had that.
I felt like, believe it or not, I felt like I knew more about the game when I was doing the rosters than after the blinding marathon of videotape. But I don't know, man. It's a fine line. I mean, we know a lot of useless shit now with the amount of football we watched this past season.
Now, again, this is our first episode on YouTube, so what we're talking about is like I said, Ron and I do this show is actually going to be a podcast on TMV Cafe. You can look it up. Tango Mike Victor .cafe or cafe.com. And it's our show. And last year we did this only on them, and it was with the radio. And we watched between the two of us part or all of every single game played in the NFL.
Even Jaguar games,
especially Jaguar games, because that's all I got to see. So when we went through a marathon, I mean beyond marathon, just thousands of hours of football last year. So when we talk about football, we're coming from that experience. We kind of have a little bit of background on what we're talking about. And he's not kidding, dude. We watched every stinking game last year, and we'll probably do some of the same stuff again.
Well, it depends. It depends on what kind of negotiation I do with DirecTV this year, as whether or not I get that.
You want to put that on? They're not going to see it.
It's not going to be my voice you're going to hear call it a negotiation. It'll be one of my minions that'll be doing the dirty work for me.
Tell them the story. That's hilarious.
But I mean, I don't think I paid for a Sunday ticket for the past, I'd say 4 seasons. Yeah. Usually DirecTV gives themselves enough rope to hang themselves in doing something with me that they screw something up, and in order to keep my business, they give you the world. They will bend over and spread it for you without lube. I mean, I'm serious, and because that NFL package is it's like $300, and depending on what tier you get, like I got the Superfan package that gives you the Red Zone channel. It includes all these. They're called HD shortcuts. They give you the entire game in 30 minutes, which is
we watched all.
Because that's the best way to watch a ball game because you see every single play. But the problem is you got to pay attention. It's not like when a game's on and in between plays you can run to the kitchen, go do something, take a piss real quick, or come back and you can hear them yammering. It's like as soon as the play's over, bam, bam. Like how the fuck they get that touchdown? Oh, we got to rewind it and go back to there.
I know we have to do that.
But I mean, and there are some days too where you're just watching that game and you're just
God, I missed 3 quarters. I was asleep for 5 minutes.
I was like, I missed the whole game. It was like hypersleep in Aliens, But no. Speaking of what has been going on, like Charlie's been saying, it's been a free agent frenzy, and probably the first name they talked about was McCoy going to Buffalo,
right?
And then I think it was the Foles for Bradford trade, which was bizarre. And then the really big name that was rumored forever, and I'm sure there'll still be an investigation because these guys fuck everything up, is Ndamukong Suh going to the Miami Dolphins. So if and according to this ESPN free agent tracker, that is the biggest, which I always love because the Dolphins every year they go, oh, the Dolphins did the best in free agency. Now, and if you know who Mike Wallace is, and not the dead guy from 60 Minutes, but Mike Wallace recently that was another great free agent acquisition by the Dolphins who has been moved.
Yeah.
But the Dolphins went out and got themselves a very big name on defense in Suh. A lot of friends of mine were like, hey, what do you think? Is this a good move? Is this smart? Absolutely not. I think this is the dumbest move this is typical of what the Dolphins do. The Dolphins are starting to become like the Washington Redskins, where they're just going to go after any big name they can and think if we just put butts in the seats, which is another thing that they seem more interested and focused on doing than building a football team, is renovating a stadium so they can host Super Bowls. I'll say it here. The Miami Dolphins, you are more interested in hosting Super Bowls than participating in them.
Oh, no.
That's what you're interested in. And Dominic Sue, sure. I mean, the front four on paper they have now, they have Earl Mitchell, they have Olivier Vernon, Sue, and they have Cameron Wade. That's a nice front four.
Yeah.
On paper, looks fantastic. On an Xbox, probably plays even better. In person, to be seen. But the way everything seems to go for those guys, they paid a shitload of money for him. You know, it's like what they did is like they bought a really nice house, but there's no furniture to go in the house.
Yeah.
When you're 18 years old and you're sitting on lawn furniture, it's cool in the gang. But when you're 30 years old, late 20s, and you're trying to mac on some chicks and bring them over, girls ain't gonna want to fuck you if you got lawn furniture. They're gonna think you're a serial killer.
No,
Why don't you just hang a tire in the house and put a Samsonite suitcase?
And that's what the Dolphins have done again. You always overpay free agents. Always, you're gonna spend more than what you should have, and they've done that again. And he's a great player. It's one of those things where I don't like him personally. I don't like him. I don't like to step it on Aaron
Yeah, I think it's a
Rodgers.
little stupid.
I don't like to kick it into the crotch. I mean, if you're that kind of guy, I don't want you on my team. So of course, the Dolphins are going to pick him up. Is that going to make them any better than it was? No. But the reason you have to overpay to be a Dolphins player is like we talked about before. You're trading Detroit for playoffs, playing with the offense that you have, and your defense is getting stronger. You're going to be in the playoffs, all this kind of stuff. And now the options that they're going to give you are come down to Miami. Let's be 8-8 again. You're never going to see the playoffs because you're in the division with New England, and you're going to be 8-8. But we'll give you 114 million reasons to come down.
I get sunshine every day.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
And that's the only option that they have. I mean, they're not. It's not going to change. I mean, last year, what did I do on our show? I predicted in July. In July, I said the Dolphins are going to go what 8-8 and miss the playoffs by a game. And what did they do? 8-8 and missed the playoff by a game. So it's going to be the same scenario again this year. They could put God on that team, and until Brady and Belichick die, you're playing for the wild card. So that's the only reason. So they did pay a lot for this guy.
Well, they paid a lot, and it's like
but they have to. That's the only way they're going to.
Well, they paid a lot, and it's like my question is like, all right, well, who? A linebacker is basically the quarterback of the offense. So your linebackers are only as good as your front 3 or 4 is. Right. So the front 3 or 4 is very good, but who's going to make the tackles? They're going to pick up Zach Thomas and Offerdahl? I mean, who else is back? All they got right now is Jelani Jenkins. They traded away Ellerby to the Saints to get a wide receiver named Stills. I don't know much about him. They have Landry, who's pretty good. They have Rashard Matthews. They moved Mike Wallace. Now, this is what made me laugh about the Mike Wallace trade. This is how bad the stink was on Mike Wallace. Is they traded him to the Minnesota Vikings to get a 5th-round pick, but in order for Minnesota to take him for a 5th-round pick, they said, you need to throw in a 7th-round pick for him. Well, you need to give us your worst draft pick in order for us to take the stink and the stain off your hands.
What's Wallace supposed to come down here and be, though?
He's going to stretch the field.
Magic thing.
Stretch it.
Make it happen. I mean, wow.
Didn't do shit.
No. And the thing is, and I know, yes, I play fantasy football, all right? And my son Gabriel had Mike Wallace on his team and was benching him and was yelling and screaming at him every week, because that was the big thing. Here's our next big thing. We're going to get this guy out of, he was in Pittsburgh, right? Yep. We're going to get this dude out of Pittsburgh. He's going to come in here. Well, then guess what? Although I think Tannehill's getting better, he has not been Roethlisberger.
I had Steelers fans tell me, you don't want that guy.
Really?
He's not that good. They're like, he's not that good.
Roethlisberger must have made him look good.
Roethlisberger made him look good. It's just like Wes Welker. Wes Welker didn't do anything when he was a Dolphin, but he went to play for Marino. Manny.
Sorry, we're Dolphins.
I wish.
That's going to happen a lot.
When he played for Manning and when he played for... all those numbers were Brady because that offense was 5 yards, 5 yard slant, 5 yard slant. They made all this cash. But, in addition to that, I mean, it's I don't know. I don't foresee them doing anything. New England, they had a lot of key losses too. They lost some of their secondary. Mm-hmm. Revis went back to New York. I mean, the Jets are the biggest comedy of all because no matter what they do, they're always going to suck. Because they re-signed David Harris, who's a linebacker. They brought in Revis. They brought in Cromartie. Big fucking deal. They didn't. I mean, I don't recall the Jets defense being that so airtight and unstoppable or you're unmovable against when they were there. So they brought him in, basically put butts in the seats.
Sure.
They traded for Brandon Marshall. Good luck, because who's going to throw Brandon Marshall the ball?
How's that working out for your boy Aaron Decker?
Oh my God! Yeah,
Aaron.
You want to talk about Aaron Decker? One of my guys probably pissed. I'm not the guy now. You're bringing in this
Peyton used to throw me the ball all the time.
So, I mean, yeah, it's Decker. I mean, I think Wesley Walker's coming back. Maybe Altoon. I mean, what other old Jets? Richard Todd been a quarterback. Who else are you going to dig up, Jets? And Buffalo, same thing. They're trading. I mean, everyone's trying to compete with the Patriots. But guess what? I don't give a shit who you all could sign God. You could all sign every Roman, Greek, Norse deity you want. You are not going to beat the New England Patriots until those guys are gone. Do you see who one of the guys New England signed? Was this tight end from Buffalo named Scott Chandler. Yeah. He's like as big as Gronkowski.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
And then they got some other guy that's wearing Hernandez's old number. So now they got a three-headed monster at tight end. Good luck. And listen, it's their fucking division to win.
Well, the thing about them, they're so good that I don't even pay attention to what they do in the offseason because you just know that when the season
Well, you don't really hear about them making a lot of huge moves. It's just anyone they get is going to do well. It could be a guy in a wheelchair. They're going to get the most out of him.
Plug in a spot. It's what they do.
Yeah, I mean they had some losses on. I mean they franchised their kicker.
Ooh, that's how good you are when you
can.
All of our players.
Listen, I just need to keep the kicker. The rest of you, I don't give a shit. I can replace you. But I mean, some of the other big. Let's see. DeMarco Murray went from the Cowboys to the Eagles. That was. I mean, the Eagles. What the hell?
All right, yeah,
we got what, like 3 minutes. We can do 3 minutes on the Eagles.
Oh gosh, easy. Are they? They're blowing up that team and putting it back. I mean, Chip Kelly is going, look, I want Oregon here. In Philly is what he's doing.
He's kind of he's almost like the 21st century version of Jimmy Johnson. That's what he's kind of doing.
Yeah. And so we're talking about Jimmy Johnson came down to Miami. I hate Jimmy Johnson for this reason.
No, I mean
I know, but we're talking about Dallas.
I mean the U, yeah.
And the U and all that kind of stuff. But this dude came down here, ran Dan Marino out of town, and killed him. But the idea is they gave him player personnel control. And, man, he has taken advantage of it. I mean, Jeremy Maclin's gone. LaShawn McCoy's gone. The quarterback, Nick Foles, is gone. And, all this kind of stuff. And he's basic. Now, the thing is, if this works, which I can't see how the hell it's going to, but if it does work, this guy's going to look like, the greatest thing since.
Well, did you see who else they brought in for a tryout this week, the Eagles?
No.
Tebow.
No.
Yeah, they brought in Tebow. Eagles could sign Tim if they can move Matt Barkley. Those of you who don't know who the hell Matt Barkley is. Matt Barkley was a quarterback for USC. He was in that pedigree of Carson Palmer. I almost called him Carson Daly. Carson Palmer, Sanchez, the other guy, Liner. He was with in that school he followed.
Okay.
And Barkley's just been sitting on the roster for a while now. And supposedly, according to Yahoo Sports, if they move him, they would consider signing Tebow, which maybe scratch. And I was talking to a buddy of mine about Tebow. I said, Tebow's not an NFL quarterback. And he goes, I beg to differ. He goes, he led a team to the playoffs.
He did.
A Broncos team. And what? So I'm like, sun shines on the dog's ass every once in a while. But I just don't see him.
The only thing I have about Tebow is, again, we're getting into technical stuff now, but his delivery is so long and slow that to get into a quick, pop and go, I don't know if he's got that in it. Other than that, I wish okay.
He can move in the pocket. That's why I think
if you're worried about moving in the pocket, why'd you bring Sam Bradford in there then? If Billy brought Sam Bradford into the guy who's been touched 2 times in 2 years and fell down and grabbed his leg both times.
I don't know, maybe they got to deal with an orthotic company or an orthopedic surgeon. But hey, 3 surgeries, get the 4th one free. I mean, I don't know.
So if you're,
what the deal is they got with James Andrews.
So to put that in there, you want a quarterback that can move. Then if you wanted that, why would you bring Sam Bradford in? So I'm anxious to see. But that team, they're saying they're changing the league this year, and they're making it to where I want to watch Philly just to see what the hell's going to happen. Even though I'm not a Philly fan, don't give a crap about it. To see a complete remake of a team, the way this team has done it, I mean, they released a bunch of key players. So I'm anxious to see how
that division, I would have said if Murray would have stayed with Dallas, I would have said, okay, it's Dallas's crown to lose. But now with him gone, I'm like, who are you going to run the
Yeah.
ball? But we'll
We're
go with,
20. We can talk about that on the next.
all right, so we're going to go to a quick break here.
That's an issue with me. So.
And we'll come back with where's the camera? Second quarter on the stiff arm.
Not like I move it.
Second quarter on your stiff arm with Ron Mexico. Now I have to give hand gestures because I forget I'm a camera. And I keep getting confused because there's a camera here and then there's the one we're supposed to be looking at. So if you see me going like this, because I forget that the camera's up there.
He's trying to talk to you, folks. He's trying to talk.
I'm talking to my shoes. They're more interesting than this guy.
And better looking too is the worst part.
Well, I don't know who has more gray, my shoes or your head, but
you want to see some gray?
No. Let's. We already have NC-17 for language. We don't need anything else. I don't think YouTube allows cock to be on the screen. I think you could say it, but I don't know, that was a weird segue.
Say it, you can't do it.
So.
And this is just juice. That's the worst part.
With
We're
gin.
so cold sober right now. So,
This looks like vodka.
Second quarter.
Second quarter. Throw up in the rug. So speaking of throwing up in the rug, so the Eagles, let's get back to that. So I just realized I was going through the list in between quarters. They also signed away from the Chargers. They replaced LaShawn McCoy with Ryan Matthews. What do you know about? All I know is he was injured a lot.
He was injured a lot. I did have him on my fantasy team for a while. When he's in the game,
is he a Sproles kind of guy?
He's kind of, yeah.
But they still have Sproles.
Yeah. But yeah, what are they going to do with him?
I don't know what else they got. The other rumor I heard about the Eagles too is they're trying to move a guard that they had. They have a lineman that did pretty well, and guess what team is in the running to try to get that guard? Yeah. Because he succeeded. He played his best football under their offensive. I'm like, oh Jesus! And had balls, beat uncle, best looking ugly chick in the bar. Use all of our euphemisms here on the show. It's not gonna work. Other big, in your opinion, who do you think was the most decimated by free agency? What franchise do you think is God? They're fucked.
New Orleans.
That's what I was about to say.
New Orleans is scaring me. I mean, I think what a coup for Seattle.
Are you going to take Drew Brees on your fantasy team? Who's he going to throw to?
I don't know.
Jimmy Graham's gone.
And they lost a couple other players too. I think. And there was, like you said, there was a rumor about them trading Brees for a while. I mean, I don't know if they've just given up. If they said, all right, we tried it, it didn't work, we're going to blow it up and go again. But Jimmy Graham, I mean, I was shocked. Literally, I mean, few things.
He's your main weapon.
Yeah, few things get to me like that. And I was like, oh, that can't. I had to rewind it. I said, that can't be right. That just can't be.
Well, I mean, I don't question why. I understand why. It's like if they got to blow it up and rebuild it, then you got to take your biggest.
All up.
Well, you got to take your biggest commodity and get picks. That's fine. But why did you trade it to the team who finished second overall in the league? Seattle's number one pick is like 31, I think, or 30th. It's at the bottom.
They've kind of been busy in Super Bowls here lately, so they're not getting big
right.
picks. You know, I don't get it. I mean, I was literally stunned by that one. I think I made Seattle as much as they were the team to beat before now.
Well, they re-signed Lynch. They brought in some defensive back from the Eagles. I think they let one of the Legion of Boom go.
Yeah. But I mean, again, that is such a good defense that it's not interchangeable parts. I mean, the reason they're good is because these guys are good, but I think that's not going to hurt them.
San Francisco lost a lot of people, too.
San Francisco is
holy shit, everyone just jumping off that sinking ship.
Dude, some guy, and I watched that thing on ESPN, a guy, 24
years old. Said, fuck this, I'm out.
I'm out, dude, so I'm done. I mean,
I'm going to blame it on the concussion thing.
Yeah, sure, I just want to play for San Francisco anymore. The coach is gone. A couple players are gone.
Crabtree's gone. Patrick Willis retired.
Yeah.
Frank Gore went to the Colts.
Yeah.
Kaepernick's still there, ladies.
Yeah,
Daryl, your boy's still there.
All right. How's that working out for you? So I don't know if they've just.
They did sign Torrey Smith away from the Ravens. So now they have the two receivers that beat them in the Super Bowl playing for them, with Bolden and Smith.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it just seems like I said, this year, it seems like they're shaking up the whole league. Yeah. Which is going to make it fun to watch in the sense that it's not the same old again. Because normally, free agency and trades, especially this early in the season, it's just, that's a nice pick. Sanchez will be a nice pick.
It's been like a flurry.
Now all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, the whole team's blowing up and we're going to start all over and things like that. So I'm anxious to see how this goes, but San Francisco seems to have taken the big hit. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were. And with Seattle getting Jimmy Graham, trust me, we talked all year last year about Russell Wilson's ability to keep a play going. Well, now when he's back there being all Fran Tarkenton like, there's six touchdown machines standing right there going, brother, I'm right here.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's going to. He can open up the field for him, but he doesn't need to. He's going to be the ultimate safety valve for offense that is nothing but safety.
You think Jimmy Graham would have made that catch against the Saints if he was with them on the Super Bowl, or against the Patriots on the Super Bowl?
I don't think he'd have got knocked backwards like that dude, like that dude who was trying to make that catch. Because I mean, even
that's what I think. It was if they signed Graham, I go, oh, because you want to run that play again? Is that why you signed him?
Exactly. Because I mean, again, I forget the name of the
Ricardo
receiver.
Lockett's gone.
The receiver that was right, but when he got hit by the defense, even if he caught the ball, he wouldn't have been in the end zone. He got knocked 3 yards back. Jimmy Graham ain't getting knocked 3 yards back. I'm telling you right now. But I think that might be the key for that offense, which has been the slow part of that team. So I'm kind of anxious to watch them play. So I mean, like I said, they're doing a lot of things that are making this league interesting this year, to where you want to see how it works out.
I heard another story. Supposedly the Arizona Cardinals are in play or trying somehow to trade to Minnesota to get Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
And Minnesota's another team that's quietly stacked a few pieces in there. I mean, if they can get the malcontent Wallace to play for them, I mean, Bridgewater showed some promise towards the end of the season.
Well, he knew he was going to be a project. I mean, he wasn't going to be. I mean, everybody wanted him to come in and be the superstar. Right?
Sure.
He's not. He played like a rookie quarterback supposed to play. That's more of an athlete than a quarterback.
Right.
If he learns the quarterback skills to go with his athleticism, I think he's going to be all right. So yeah, they're slowly starting to put it together. So.
Detroit. I mean, Detroit's got some whole. I mean, to lose Sue, who was a big key part of that defense, and that offense. Let's face it. Detroit's defense is what kept them in it more last year than the offense, because Johnson was injured majority of the season.
Yeah, he missed 3 games, but he wasn't himself for 5 or 6 at least, where he was just a limping decoy out there. But even at that, though, I mean, again, the things we know for you guys, Stafford threw for 4,220 yards, which was his career low, last year at 4,200 yards. So that offense was moving the ball down the field. The problem that they had, like we talked about, was getting it into the end zone.
Yeah.
So, but that defense was a big part of that game, because the offense, normally when an offense scores or moves the ball as fast as they do, the defense ends up getting beat up because they get tired. Detroit's defense was strong enough that with Sue and all them guys that didn't happen to them on a regular basis. They were able to play strong even with that, which was what made Detroit strong. So I don't know if this is going to hurt. I'm not a big fan of Sue. Player-wise, great. Personality-wise, I don't care. Now, I saw an interview where the Miami Dolphin owner called him Danica Sue, which should tell you how much they're involved into this.
So again, we want to host Super Bowls, not play in Super Bowls.
But they were saying that he had person after person, from Donald Trump on down, saying, hey, you got a great person on your team. So maybe I'm wrong. But maybe I am, So
he's going to be the Mike Wallace of the defense.
I just want to see what's going to happen. But I mean, I think Seattle's gotten a huge lot better with Jimmy Graham. I think New Orleans has taken a big hit. I think San Francisco took a big hit.
How about Denver? Denver's
kind of flopping.
They parted with Demaryius Thomas. Not Demaryius Thomas. One of the Thomases. Doubting Thomas. I don't know. One of them went to Jacksonville.
Thomas,
He went to Jacksonville. They got rid of Wes Welker. I think they caught him. They caught him where he's not coming back. Terrence Knighton, who was a defensive tackle, he went to the Redskins. They seemed a little bit in transition too.
And that's a problem when you have a 300-year-old quarterback.
The whole division sucks. I mean, Oakland. Oh, you see who Oakland signed?
Yeah, go ahead, tell me about
the running back from the Colts. Richardson. I was like,
yeah.
Oakland, when are you going to realize that the days of signing the malcontents you're signing today are not the malcontents of back then, who actually liked playing football?
Now, what did we say on the show on the Stiff Arm last year? Trent Richardson, Oakland. Trent Richardson needs GPS and a map to find the line of scrimmage. Your offensive line is not that good.
He's a guide dog.
Jeez.
He ain't going to do shit. And in their running back, McFadden went to Dallas, so let's get to that. Now, Dallas has DeMarco Murray. They had him for a while, sitting in the stable. Finally, someone had the brilliant idea of going, Tony Romo fucks up a lot.
Yeah.
What if we ran the ball
There's an
and took
idea.
some pressure off of them?
And let's do it 392 times.
And so Dallas has an unbelievable season. I think I picked them to go finish the basement last year. I didn't think them to do shit.
Well, we thought the defense was going to be arena league, and because they ran 392 times with this one guy,
Controlled the
they
clock.
controlled the clock, kept that defense, so the defense didn't get
So
exposed.
it served two purposes.
Sure.
Now, you know, and I think Dallas is thinking is, well, we got these 5 guys, and not the burger joint. He's got these 5 guys up front that can keep Tony Romo upright and alive for the most part, and we can run the ball, so we're good to go. DeMarco, thanks, but no thanks. We'll let you go.
And again, that to me is why Dallas is in the same mediocre, a little bit better, but in the same mediocre category that the Dolphins are. We finally found the program that's going to work for us. We got into the playoffs for the first time in a billion years under the Romo era. We won a game. You know, we have found it. This is it. This is what we're going to do. So let's fuck it up. See, let's go away, DeMarco. We don't want to do this. We want to be.
Don't go away, man. Just go away.
We want to be 8-8, 9-7. You know, work that out because we finally found the program. And I talked about it on the show that I do, the smaller show that I do.
Because this thing's huge.
We're going to be here all damn day. You know. But the idea was you had to pick between, or they didn't have to pick, but they were trying to figure out how they could sign both Des Bryant and DeMarco Murray. Well, everybody says the same thing, just like you said. Romo sucks. Romo's awful. He's the reason we're not in the playoffs. Well, then guess what? You keep the guy that has to have Romo sucks throw him the ball, and you trade the guy that Romo just has to turn around and hand it to. DeMarco Murray accounted for 2,200 yards of their offense last year and 13 TDs. Des Bryant was 13.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's quaking in their boots over Darren McFadden.
No, and I don't think anybody's worried about it. Even behind that offensive line, Darren McFadden has played one complete season in his 7-year career. He's already been in the league 7 years, so he's always being hurt. He's only played a full 16 games one time.
So he's like the Derrick Rose of the NFL, pretty much.
Pretty much. We talk about Derrick later. We talk about you, Derrick. Love you, brother, but you got to play a full season for me. But I'm thoroughly disappointed with Dallas. I mean, I was prepared to go, all right, this is going to be it. They found the formula. They're going to do it. And then they trade DeMarco Murray. Now, let's go on the other side. How's he going to do in Philly, do you think, in that offense?
I don't – Philly doesn't come across to me as a run-first team. They're a quick pass, kind of up-tempo.
And Murray is not a Sproles type.
You're like they're throwing a running back out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember seeing LaShawn McCoy do, at least. It seemed like all the time.
Exactly. And again, I don't think that Murray had 57 catches this year, but I mean, I don't think that's going to be the focal point of your offense. So I think this is going to be a big step down for him. I'm wishing him the best of luck because I became a fan last year. Dude carried the ball 392 times, 447 total touches, you know, and helped that team get to the playoffs and win a game and do something they haven't done in a long time, and then they trade him away. I just don't get it.
I mean, there's still a lot of big. I mean, let's talk about Indianapolis was another one that you were excited about. They signed Frank Gore, which gives them it's an established name. Does he, to use the parlance of our time? Does he got enough gas in the tank? We'll see. It's definitely an upgrade over Trent Richardson.
Yes.
Ahmad Bradshaw, I think, got hurt. Somebody else got busted for weed or something. I don't know who else got in trouble for something else.
Yeah.
Who else? They signed a receiver. Who else the hell they signed?
They the guy Andre Johnson.
Oh yeah. From almost Dallas, from Houston. They got him. He's Reggie Wayne's gone.
Yeah.
They keep Hilton. I haven't seen his name on the list. So T.Y. Hilton's still there.
Yep.
They addressed some issues they had, which was the biggest problem. You know, we said throughout the playoffs was they can't run the ball, they can't control the clock.
And we saw Pittsburgh in the regular season play against Indianapolis, and they just said, we don't care about your running game. They just rushed and they just beat the living dog piss out of luck because they weren't worried about the running game. So at least with Frank Gore now they have that threat,
right?
You know, who's going to at least keep that pressure off a little bit. And Johnson, I'm telling you, with the great stud of quarterbacks that he's had throwing to him, like Ryan Fitzpatrick and Casey Kasem and all these top 40 dumbasses, he's still one of the best receivers in the league. So if he gets a dude like Luck throwing to him, this dude could set records. I'm telling you, this could be something.
He was a guy I wish the Dolphins would have went after in free agency. Yeah. Another guy I wish they would have went after too, and he signed with Houston, was Vince Wilfork, which everyone, you know, a friend of mine is a Patriot fan. He goes, "Yeah, Patriots, like shaming the Patriots for cutting him." I go, This standard operating procedure move of the Patriots.
Yeah.
The Patriots don't give a fuck how big of it. Well, except unless you're Tom Brady.
Yeah, other than Brady.
Other than Brady, you're gone. You know, and it's proven point. You know, because I mean they had a Super Bowl MVP named Deion Branch, who was the MVP in Super Bowl 39. Got rid of him, sent him to Seattle, brought him back, and then got rid of him again.
Yeah.
No big loss.
They got a system going up there.
It's something. It's something. And of course you were, they did cheat and this. And I don't give a fuck what they do. They find a way to get it done.
And I think it's hilarious that there was an Oakland Raider saying something about that. And basically, what he said was, in our day, it was if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's anybody on the 70s. That's probably Stabler who said that.
So,
anybody on the 70s Raiders would have said that.
I'm excited about the Indianapolis offense, like we were talking about. I'm really excited about it. My concern is it going to be arena football with these guys because the defense is I don't know if they're that bad or if they're just on the field so much. Because again, when your offense scores that quickly, your defense is like, oh my God, we got to go back out and play again. You know, so it could be scores of 50-48. You know, that they win by, or 38-40. You know, kind of thing. But I'm excited to see it.
And it's their division to lose. I mean,
always,
you guys, Jacksonville, Tennessee. Brought it. Tennessee, I think, signed Brian Orakpo from the Redskins, who, I mean, big name. I know him more from the Geico commercials, and he gets injured a lot too.
Yeah.
And he's another guy that has a history of injury problems. But there's no one really in that division to challenge. In the East, all the moves everyone did in the AFC East, it's still New England's to lose. Yeah. The West, I still feel it's Denver's. I don't give a shit. Oakland can sign whoever the fuck they want. They're not going to do anything. Kansas City is the only the Nugget. I don't know what's going on with the Nugget. I can't figure them out. Yeah. And Kansas City is really their only threat. And conversely, in the NFC, I guess you say, I mean, it's either Philly or Dallas. I don't think the Giants are going to do anything. I don't think the Redskins are doing anything substantial. Yeah. I did see they re-signed Colt McCoy.
Well, there you go. How'd that work out for you last year?
Yeah, Colt McCoy, and you still got Griffin there. In the North, it's Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota might do something. Chicago. You're still stuck. You are stuck. You are in a dead end marriage. You are stuck with Cutler.
You just Cutlerized yourself again.
Why did you should have kept Marshall and got rid of his ass. I mean,
exactly.
But you know what? The thing with Brandon Marshall, it really goes to show you, because I watched this thing on the NFL Network. They had it was like this. It's called A Football Life, and it was hour-long shows. They do like a documentary on players, and they did one on Brandon Marshall. And I'm like, I mean, I know the guy puts up great numbers, but it's just like, what else has he done? But the main thing they did was because of his personality disorder that he has. So apparently, I don't know if it's personality disorder or maybe it's a polite way of saying the guy's an asshole. I don't know, but this is his Broncos to Dolphins to Bears to Jets. This is his fourth team that he's been traded, and to the Jets of all. And I think the Jets had to give up like a massage table for him. I don't think they had to give anything up for him. Nothing. It was like no loss to them at all. But that division, the Bears are a disaster. The South, it's pretty much Carolina because Tampa Bay, it got the first pick. They're supposed to either get Winston or the kid from Oregon, or unless Chip Kelly finds some way to trade, I think the stadium or everything, the whole city, the Liberty Bell.
Chip is going on record saying they're not doing that because they have like the 21st pick.
Yeah, they don't have a very good. I don't know how the hell he's going to pull that
off. You just said we're not going to.
Dallas also signed Greg Hardy. We saw that today. Yeah. Apparently, all charges were dropped against him, which is perfect because I've heard they're crazy about guns in Dallas. So Greg Hardy you can take all your bathtub worth of weapons, allegedly. I don't know if that's true or not, but you can take all that shit with you down to Texas, man. It'll work just fine for you.
It'll be perfect. It'll fit right.
It'll definitely be the old fucking West. So. But that NFC South is still a fucking a shit show.
It really is. And again, nobody plays 500 ball the whole season last year, and then Carolina wins a playoff game. But
I'm more curious. I mean, you haven't heard much about Arizona doing except for that rumor about them trading Peterson and Cromartie going to the Jets. I mean, they're still in the hunt. It's, as far as I'm concerned, Seattle's to lose.
Oh, it's definitely
San Francisco. I think has leapfrogged behind the Rams.
Jump back.
I think the Rams are like, holy shit, watch out for the Rams. And it's like the Niners. Sorry, man.
Exactly.
I know that's your boys' team, but we're burning rags. But I was like, what did you do?
That's all right.
But the Rams, like I said, my biggest thing I want to see the Rams do is please go back to Los Angeles. Please hurry up and get that deal done. Get the fuck out of there. Move Jacksonville there because let's face it, St. Louis, you are a foster home for NFL franchises. You average about 20 years. You had the Cardinals for 20. Now they're down in Arizona. You got the Rams it'll be 20 years this year. They're due to leave the net. It's like a kid. It's like, listen, you're 20 years old. Get your own goddamn apartment. Go back to LA.
Get out of here.
All right, speaking of out of here, let's take a quick break. We'll reset things and come back and start with tis your time of the season.
Yes, it is, baby.
We'll be back with March Madness coverage in the third quarter on the Stiff Arm. Third quarter on your Stiff Arm with Ron Mexico. So switching gears, since there's nothing more to talk about with free agency. We could keep beating a dead horse, but let's talk about currently. First thing I notice is, and again, I'm slowly acclimating myself to the other sports that are around us. I did happen to see the other night that the San Antonio Spurs lost to the New York Knicks, and the coach ripped them a new asshole.
Wow.
And so then I just pulled up the standings. First off, I couldn't even name the divisions. Basketball is like the NFL is Northeast, South, and West. All the other hockey, baseball, basketball all have divisional breakups as well. I didn't realize what I'm assuming the Heat was still like in the Atlantic Division and they had to play the Knicks and like it always was. It is how out of touch I am with basketball. So as I'm looking through it and I see the Knicks record, I go, holy shit, no wonder that guy was pissed off. But what the heck did you see any of the highlights of that? What happened with that?
It was just, you're going to have a flat night every once in a while. San Antonio had a flat night. Plus, you got to remember that for the Knicks, who traded one of their two players that they had, and the other one said, I've hurt my knee, so I'm not going to do this anymore.
You went Derrick Rose?
Yeah. They've got nobody on the team. So every time they play on the road or they play on TV and they're playing against a good team, that's their playoffs. They've only won like 5 games all year, have the Knicks. And
14.
Okay.
14 and 53.
Yeah, when you lose 53, you're going to argue with me over 5 and 14. I mean, come on. So every time they get something like that, that's their playoff game. They're playing the best that they can play, and they get. So it was a combination of, oh crap, the Knicks are here, and oh my God, we're playing San Antonio, that kind of thing, and they just got beat. It's going to happen every once in a while. I mean, I'm not worried about it. San Antonio's not worried about it, but it does provide, that, which I can't imagine that team needs a teaching tool, but just dudes, look, these dumbasses beat us, so anybody else can beat us. So don't let that championship weigh too heavy on you right now. We got things to do.
I did see. I guess one guy does make a difference because Cleveland is in first place in their division, 44 and 26, and the Miami Heat are third. Holy shit! The Atlanta Hawks have a good team.
The Atlanta Hawks are playing.
Spud Webb back. Dominique.
Right.
Who else? Manute Bol.
There you go.
Well,
Tree Rollins, baby.
Not Manute Bol. Oh, he's played for Magic.
Who?
He was a coach. Tree Rollins. He was a coach.
Yeah, he's a coach. Yeah.
Not Manute Bol. Who's the other guy?
No, he's not there now. So.
Yeah, no, Manute Bol. No, Dikembe Mutombo.
That's him.
But what?
Yeah, Atlanta's playing great and out of the blue. I mean, maybe it's not out of the blue. Maybe they've been building it for a while, but you just never heard of them. And now all of a sudden, they're just whipping ass in the East.
The one that sounds like they should be in the NCAA tourney, I didn't realize had a good record also, was Golden State.
Golden State's the hottest team in the league right now.
It's 54 and 13, basically the opposite of the Knicks.
And the idea is
what did they do to get good?
Well, they've been good. They were good for the last couple of years. They got Steph Curry for one thing, but they're playing team basketball, and this is a discussion we can have some other time because we got stuff going on behind us that we need to talk about. But the concept now is certain teams are playing team ball where everybody's getting involved in it, and the whole team plays, and then they're winning with. I mean, the other guy, Steph Curry, and a couple other good guys. One guy hurt his ankle. I forget his name, but they were doing good. But now the trend is getting back to playing team ball. So I'm thinking that this might make the game better because right now it's hard to watch NBA if you're a real basketball fan and not a player fan. So
well, okay. Here's my question too: is with the amount of teams that are in the NCAA are in college basketball,
326.
Okay. How many guys do they typically carry on a college roster?
12.
Real? That's it?
Only 5 play at a time.
Right, but I know. But I mean, that's all they usually. It's just 12.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, 12.
Like, what's the max they could carry?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Because college football, you can have like the entire fucking school play.
And I don't know if that's the same in college basketball. I don't think it is. I've never seen more than 12 on the bench.
Well, see, this doesn't leave
me. Because you always see 3 recruits that are coming in,
right?
That kind of thing. But I mean, as far as players, I think 12. I won't say 12. Might be 15, but 12 is what I'm going to go with. So.
I would just think that the talent pool wouldn't be so shallow. I figured it would be a little bit deeper when it came time for the NBA draft for as many schools as there are that have basketball programs as opposed to football programs.
Well, the thing that you're doing
like, why is the talent? Like, why is the NBA? It's just not there.
Well,
or is it? I mean,
it is there. It is there. I mean, there's a lot of great players coming out. I mean, but the thing is, the transition, as much as a transition, and it's a huge transition from college football to college basketball. I mean, to pro football. It's a bigger transition to go from college basketball to pro basketball. I mean, basically, I don't care who you are or how tall you are. You're 19 years old and you're playing against a 27-year-old man. So it's a big difference in the caliber of game. But again, the talent is there. But the problem with college basketball right now is the one and done. Guys come in for 1 year and then they're gone. They don't develop their skills so that when they go into the NBA,
the first couple of years,
they're not Michael Jordan, who's played 3 years at North Carolina. They're not, David Robinson, who played 4 years in the Naval Academy, who built his skills up to where he goes in. Now he's 22 and playing against that 27-year-old man. Now the difference is not that big a deal, as opposed to an 18-year-old kid or 19-year-old kid who played 1 year at the college that he went to, was the stud of the team, and now he goes in there and finds out he's getting his ass whipped by these guys, and then he develops and eventually he turns into a good player.
Right.
So it's not that the talent's not there, it's just you're looking at 19-year-old kids going against full-grown men, who've been playing on a pro level for 5 or 6 years. So the one and done is doing more to hurt basketball than anything. Anthony Davis, let's take him for example, plays for the Pelicans.
That's got the Unibrow.
That's the Unibrow. Played for Kentucky. Played 1 year for Kentucky. Was the 4th scoring option on that team. He goes into the NBA, plays a little bit, gets hurt. And now that he's developed into a 22-year-old guy, 23-year-old guy now, he's like scoring 30 points a night on these guys, and he couldn't even get the ball.
I still can't believe that's a real team.
Oh, the Pelicans?
I'm like
and they picked that nigga. That's the worst part.
That's the state board of Louisiana. That's the craziest fucking thing.
I get that, but I don't have to name my team though.
I would have called them the hand grenades. I mean, let's just name it after the shit that you can drink in the French Quarter.
Blow this thing up.
Beads, the New Orleans beads. You got a huge. Your jersey could have looked like a big set of tits. That's what you should have done, New Orleans.
So again, the idea is not the talent's not there; it's just the one and done. The idea that with the contract the way it's set up in the NBA, you can only make so much money. Your first 3 years, you got this much. Now your second set of 3 years, you can make it bigger and blah blah blah. So the idea is, if I wait till I'm 22 to get in, my 3 years starts when I'm 22. If I go when I'm 19, I get that first 3-year contract in before I'm 22. Now
they won't let guys come out of high school like Kevin.
No.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin
Garnett.
Yeah, and
Kevin Garnett, LeBron.
And LeBron. Yeah, you have to play 1 year or be 1 year removed.
So that's why some of them are doing this one and done.
Oh yeah, They don't go to class. They don't care. They're not going to be there. A couple of them now are saying, I don't want to go to college at all. They're going overseas to Europe, and they're getting professional experience right out of high school. Then they come back over here and get drafted. Those kinds. So
and the colleges can't make those guys like just penalize them. Okay, you want to do that? That's fine. Guess what? You owe us all the money. You owe us for all 4 years that you should have been here.
Okay, they could do that, or you could just get John Calipari who says, I can't really keep these guys that many years because I got another class coming in, And if you're going to compare the money that an Anthony Davis or a Kentucky basketball team makes to the money that you're giving up by letting this kid, you're not really hurting yourself, at all. So the colleges are in a bind; they can't do anything about it. The NBA is in a bind. They can't do anything about it. They want the talent, to come in. They want that big name, to be in there right now as quick as they can get him.
Either that or make them pay the money to some kid that was, someone who really wants to go to that school for an education and not opposed to.
The argument for that is the money that's raised by Kentucky basketball pays for the cello guy to get a scholarship.
Okay.
So that's the argument that they use. So you're right, and they're saying, that's right, Ron, that's what we do. Look at cello boy here. He got, because of the money that the program makes. So it's a bind. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just a system.
It's a business, man.
It's a business. It really is. It really is. But
so speaking of business, let's get down to it. All I've known so far is I know your Kentucky Wildcats are number 1 seed after last year. I remember last year we recorded the day after we lost the tournament. How you doing, man? Fuck you. It's just like I'm not in a good fucking mood. Great. It's going to be a wonderful show today. I can't wait to work with you.
Well, Kentucky lost 9 games last year.
And you said it was more. Well, they lost the final game more so by shooting themselves.
Well, yeah, they shot themselves. But if they could learn to hit a foul shot, they'd have been national champions.
So what have they done to make themselves learn how to foul shoot? Obviously,
well, they did. But 2, the whole team didn't go to the NBA. For the last 3 years, the whole starting lineup and 2 of the subs would go to the NBA because that's how good Kentucky was. One and done, you're out. Calipari keeps bringing in good players. I mean, number 1 recruiting class every freaking year. Well, this time they got to the championship game and they lost it. So a bunch of those guys says, "Oh no, we can't do this." So a lot of the team came back. So when again the change between 18 and 19, when you're playing under Calipari and under that kind of pressure is a big difference. So they have the nucleus of the team stayed the same, and then they brought in what? The number 1 recruiting team of all time, to add to that. So now they have guys that can shoot. They have guys that have some experience. They have guys that are big. They are big, big, big. This is a big college team.
Right.
The only team that's bigger than them in organized basketball is the Portland Trailblazers of the NBA. They're bigger than every other NBA team.
Wow.
Except for Portland. So, like I said, they're talking about who can beat them. Wisconsin's got a couple good 7-footers. Well, when Kentucky takes out their starting 7-footers, they bring 2 more in. They don't get their guards are 6'6". So that's what they've done. They have 9 McDonald's All-Americans on that team. That's more than most teams have scholarship.
That's a lot of French fries.
That's a lot of fries, baby. So they're just a good team. They're just great. And the thing is, they're so good. And I know I'm a homer. I don't care. This is my team.
No homer. Sorry.
They platoon. The starting 5 goes out there. 5 minutes into the game, all of them boys go sit down, and a whole new set of 5 come in, and they play. And they've been doing that all year. And knowing that they can do that, you can freak out and go as hard as you can because in 3 minutes you're going to be sitting down and getting a rest. And when they take those 5 out, they're bringing in 5 more McDonald's All-American kids. That would be starting.
Now, will they mix and match the first wave of 5, then the second wave of 5? They'll go, okay, you 2 and you 2 are here, you 2 and you 2 are going here, just to fuck with the other team.
Well, that's what they do. Well, not so much that they don't care about the other team right now. What they do is they care about themselves. As long as they can keep themselves on track, this is going to be a team to beat. And what Calipari does, he says, all right, you 5 go out. All right, you guys sit down. You 5 go out. Now, the 5 of you that are playing the hardest are going to get to stay in. Well, knowing that that's going to be your parameter for getting into the game, what are you going to do? You're going to go, I'll bust your ass.
Right.
So you get these guys knowing that they have to play to get onto the court and everything. So after the initial round, he'll mix it up a little bit, and just to keep guys in foul trouble. This guy's having a bad game. Let's give him a break, that kind of thing. So he mixes and matches a little bit, but basically it's 5 in, 5 out.
Right.
Let's do it.
Well, according to this, I just pulled up the brackets. You guys aren't even on until 9:40. It says tonight. Where are you guys playing?
Louisville, I think.
Okay, Midwest.
Yeah.
Okay, where are the locations for this year? Where is it spread out a little bit?
I don't worry about that because unless they're playing in my
Hampton.
backyard.
You're playing a hotel?
Yeah. Well,
what the fuck is that? Where is Hampton?
When you're the number 1 team, baby, you get numbers. And that team had to play in. They had to beat Manhattan just to get into the tournament.
Like Manhattan is in New York, or
Yeah.
Manhattan Beach?
Dude, it says Manhattan. I don't give it. All they are is a team we're going to beat by 100 points at 9 o'clock tonight.
See, this is what always cracks me about the NCAA tournament is just like some of these places are like, that's it. Like, again, Hampton. Like, what do they teach you? How to make corners and make sure there's a mint on the fucking pillow? I mean, what do they do? Here's another one. Valparaiso.
Hey, that team is I don't know.
I want to know where these schools are. Butler. I think I got started with that one.
Yes, Illinois, Indiana, one of those 2.
Notre Dame. I did see.
Now you know where that's.
No, but you know what? I did watch last Saturday night. Daryl and I were out at a bar and.
No, what? You guys?
Yeah, and I forgot who the hell. They were playing in the A. First of all, I didn't know Notre Dame was in a conference.
In basketball.
But do you understand how that works? How like one sport can be in a conference, but the other sport is not?
They're 2 totally separate entities.
But the school's still the school.
The school's not in the conference. The basketball team's in the conference. That's all that it is.
I don't fucking get that because I know Notre Dame is not in any for football. Wichita State, I've always heard of them a million times.
Mm-hmm. Good team.
Coastal Carolina, I've heard of them through football because the Dolphins had a quarterback that actually played for them. They're Chip Kelly's boys. Oregon, Wofford. Where Harvard? Holy
Now, we
shit!
are.
Harvard made the tournament.
Well, okay. Can I do just a bit of a rant?
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yes, please.
The one thing that I don't like about my favorite event, March Madness, is the week before. It's championship week. Championship week is like the participation medal of the NCAA. Every conference has to have at least one team in the top 64 play in this tournament. So Harvard gets in because they won their Ivy League division. And they had to play an extra game to figure that out because it was just a tie. I don't want that. I want 1 through 64. You rank them every week, 1 through 64. Put 1 through 64 into the tournament, and let's play the damn games. NIT tournament, the National Invitational tournament, it's the second string tournament.
Okay, I'm about to ask you, what is that?
Put 65 through 130 in there. Let's go, boys. Now you got 2 great tournaments with teams that you've heard of and know where they are playing against each other on a national stage. If you're not in the top 130, I'm glad that you played for Southwest North Dakota State and you won the good Lord it's cold up here division. I don't want to see you in a tournament. All right? Your mama's proud of you. Your friends cheer for you. I don't want to see you in my tournament. Get out. But they don't do that. Every team's got to have, or league got to have somebody in there, and it ruins the tournament. Trust me, if Kentucky doesn't beat this team that had to play their way in by 100 points, it's going to be like a loss. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to send you bars.
Get him in there. 1 through 64. Do it, NCAA. Sorry.
I'm looking at some of the. I'm just Belmont, Robert Morris.
Hey,
is that the cigarette guy?
There you go.
This is brother Phil.
My code is the more directions or the more names you have. For instance, if you're Stephen F. Austin, too many names.
$6 million man.
All right.
Davidson. Yeah, there's some school. North Dakota State.
I don't. So you told it.
They're playing Gonzaga, which I don't know where the fuck Gonzaga is.
California.
But I've heard that name.
Yeah.
I always heard. They always make the. That's all I know about them is they always make the tournament.
They always make the tournament. They always bust somebody's bracket. Except this year it was like number 3 seed.
So the only thing I saw was I saw the president picked. I think he picked Kentucky to win the whole thing.
Everybody's picking.
But it doesn't behoove you because every time the president picks a winner, they lose. The only time they showed he won was 2009.
Well, this is what concerns me more than the president picking is that Kentucky is the Goliath of the tournament. If you haven't picked Kentucky to win your bracket, you're an idiot. But the thing is, every time you see a Goliath, some dumbass David comes along and takes him down. And I am concerned about that. We're 34-0. We have not lost a game all year.
Yeah, they said, I think I saw another thing, so the last undefeated team was Indiana in like the 70s.
Yeah, all those guys.
There has never been a team to win the whole thing undefeated, just that Indiana team. That's the only one who's done it. Yeah. I figured it's been done.
It might have been done before in the 30s or 40s.
No, but I always know. I'm talking into recent day. Yeah. I've always assumed.
Now there have been teams that have gone undefeated going into the tournament. Like Wichita State last year was undefeated going into the tournament. But again, you get to the tournament and you lose. That kind of deal. But see, Kentucky they're not only undefeated, they have played the top ranked schedule in the league. They beat some big teams. So they played all the way through. And everything else, the Goliath thing is weighing on my mind really heavy. As much as I'm trying to get into it and telling everybody that you need to pick Kentucky to win, Goliath is really on my heart. Now, we got to get through today and tomorrow or today and Saturday. But that's what concerns me about this, the Goliath principle. So
now they will only play one game this week.
No,
if they win tonight,
they play Saturday.
Okay.
Then you take the weekend. So what it is, there's 64
So it goes
teams.
to 64, and Saturday it goes to 32 and then next week it's 16,
8,
and
then
5,
you have,
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
it's always. I've been saying this forever. It's always because it's math. It always confuses the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
Constantly.
3 weekends is what it boils down to. I have managed to get today and tomorrow off, which we're recording this obviously on the first day of March Madness, and I love it.
You got these DVRs cleared out.
They're good.
What did you have to binge watch hours of to get rid of it?
I had to watch a whole 8 seasons of Dexter.
Jesus Christ!
I now know more about how to slice up somebody than a chef knows how to cut a steak, baby. So, that kind of thing. But no, I sit here on these big screens and the computer that we're working on. I pull up the third feed, start watching all the way through. I love it, man. This is my man. I got 40 pounds of wings over there, more alcohol than an ABC liquor store. It's just going to be 2 days of just.
It's like the militia. It's like you're preparing for the end of the world. It's like, once the bomb hits, I'm going out happy.
Exactly.
I got basketball, wings, and a shit load of
This is my event and my time.
All right, speaking of event and time, let's take a quick break here, and we'll be back with the fourth quarter on
That's
the
the way we
stiff
do it
arm.
after the third one, yeah.
Fourth quarter on your stiff arm with Ron Mexico. This is the time of year on the stiff arm where things get really interesting because this is where we have to. This is what we call what the fuck we're going to talk about. And this is it. This is the wave we ride until that second week in September when then we'll bitch about that. Like, oh my god, I've watched so many fucking football games, and you kind of miss the days of can we just wing it this week and fuck it.
Just make stuff up. You know?
But I'm just going through, and this is gonna be a hodgepodge of shit that we're gonna come up with here.
Fourth quarter is always going to be like that.
Well, either that or it'll be a racial segment. At some point, we will have to talk race.
Yeah, you know, as much as we bitch about it, I'm kind of missing Donald Sterling because at least he gave us something to talk about.
Wait, whatever happened with that?
They sold the team. He's gone.
Who bought, so the guy from Microsoft or whatever it was bought the team?
$2 billion. Ridiculous.
Which is great. Well, no, what's more ridiculous is that the basketball team in LA is the Clippers and not the Lakers. Because I saw the Lakers statistics, and they're about as good as the Knicks.
And they're going to be that way. And Kobe, you just need to retire, brother. You had a great career. God, thank you for the championships. Go away.
Is it easier to rebuild a team, kind of like what? Well, first of all, do you see the frenzy in free agency in basketball like you do in the NFL?
No, you do see a lot of it, but the contracts are so. If you get, there's so much. It's a hard cap.
Is it a more guaranteed money in basketball?
No, it's all guaranteed money.
Wow.
There's no.
Wow.
It's all guaranteed.
How do they get? I want to know what basketball's getting because these guys get huge contracts too.
Oh, yeah.
Because the NFL, they'll give a guy like $500 million contract, $50 million is guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like a little disclaimer at the end, and like the guy's gone in 3 seasons.
Well, the contracts are usually shorter in basketball. I mean, they don't have that. They're not that long. They have a guideline for what the most they can make is, and there's only 12 or 13 guys on the team that you're having to worry about paying. Whereas football,
You got 53.
every single guy has like his own special thing, and there's 53 guys to pay and all that kind of stuff. So it's a whole different breed of cat. So it is easier to rebuild in the sense that like Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, they add the best player in the game, and then they get Kevin Love, who's a walking double-double. So now, in 1 year, they've become the team to beat in the East now. Of course, again, playing in the East and being the team to beat in the East is like the best-looking ugly girl on the bar. I mean, they're going to get stomped by whoever comes out of the West. But, yeah, it's easier to rebuild in basketball. You just shift players, shift teams, and get a couple guys in there, and now you go from nothing. Which I don't understand why Milwaukee and those also ran teams don't do something like that. It's like the Florida Marlins do. They go in, they load up a team, they win a World Series, and then bam, they break it all. Yeah, just 1 year, give Milwaukee something to cheer about. Buy you a team, and you know.
but it's like the thing you said about like when the Dolphins signing Sue. It's like, hey, you want to come to Milwaukee? You want to Laverne and Shirley will be your neighbors because he Fonzie and Potsy and Ralph Mouth.
I didn't say it was a great.
That was a TV show called Happy Days.
Yeah, long time.
Oh, time ago.
So,
But I mean, who fuck would want to go play for Milwaukee?
if I had a chance to win a championship, I'd go play wherever they needed me. But I mean,
But if you're a
you're
22,
right. I would.
you're a 22-year-old.
Oh no,
Oh, I'm sorry, 19-year-old guy because you only played 1 year, as I just learned.
You.
You're 19, 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
You want to go to the most
You want to go to LA?
sexy Miami. You want to.
Chicago.
I mean, shit. You would even come to Orlando because it's Florida, because it's warm, and at least there's chicks and wearing bathing suits at some point of the year here.
So a
but
lot of times for the games.
Milwaukee, you know, it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think are probably the worst basketball? Like, if you could retract certain teams. First of all, do you think the NBA's got too many teams? What is it, 30?
32.
There's 32.
Yeah.
Fucking A, that's way too many.
That's
Who would you cut?
Well, I mean,
Well, first of all, what number would you think is suitable?
see, I don't know. I mean, I'm a big basketball guy. More games, the merrier. It's a big enough league that you play a bunch of teams and you play it, and the games are 82 game season. So I'm not worried about the number of teams. I'm just worried about the teams that don't care. The Milwaukees of the world. Milwaukee hasn't been good since Lou Alcindor and Oscar Robinson were there. You know, do something to make your team play. You know, Orlando is becoming that now. It's a constant 500 record. You know, and you can only be optimistic about that for a while. You know, so I'm not worried about the number of teams. I'm worried about the teams that don't seem to care. You know, the salary cap bites other teams, but the teams let it. Teams like San Antonio, Tim Duncan, Ginobili, all them guys take less than the contract they could get so that they can keep them all together to make them a good team. Kobe, I want my damn money, you know. Sorry, Kobe, you haven't been Kobe for 5 years. How about just not raping your team before you have to go back to Denver?
What's a bad word to use
No,
with Kobe, isn't it?
I said on my other show, if Kobe comes back next year, it takes the $25 million that is on his contract. If you come back and take that $25 million, I hope the first game that the Lakers play on the road is in Denver because you've already been tried once there. You know the judge. Because it's just, it's a rape job. It's just stop it. You're not Kobe anymore. You're not the Black Mamba. You're not. How about giving some of that money back and letting that team get somebody to help you out because you need help. You know?
Do you think? Something like Los Angeles, do they need 2 teams?
Evidently, they only have 1.5 now. So, no, Los Angeles can handle it. Again, when it's the happening thing, and the NBA is the happening thing, but the stadiums, how many people could go watch a Miami game? The Dolphins. About 70,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can only fit 17,000 into the Magic, into the arena that the Magic play in. So, in a city the size of Los Angeles, when you can only get 17,000 into your gym, you can have 2. There's enough people that want to be seen,
right?
That want to go. I remember one year, because it's an event, it's not even the game, it's just the event. I remember one year the Lakers were playing in a championship, and Chicago, I believe it was Chicago, beat them. Chicago beat them at home in LA, and the fans stormed the court.
Oh, shit.
Just because they were in LA, they want to be on TV. That was all
right.
That was the stupidest.
They're used to riots, just storming.
The stupidest thing I ever saw. So I don't have a problem with the number of teams or the number of games even. I just have a problem with the teams that don't want to. Actually, they don't want to play. If you don't want to play, get out. The Milwaukee's, Atlanta's turned theirs around. They're doing great, but this team's.
Atlanta was a bit of a desert for a while.
It was, and as like the 3rd city or 4th city in the country, they need to start stepping up, and they are. But there's a lot of teams that just you just wonder why they're there. What's going on with them and things like that. And that's the kind of stuff that aggravates me about sports more than anything else is if you have a team, make it your passion because you see the passion that we feel for it. If you get somebody in there that has that and has the money to do something with it, then you got something. But if you like Dallas, you give me 32 Mark Cubans, running teams like that, you'll have the best damn thing going. This dude cares, will spend the money, will put in the time. He's there with the team. He actually works out with those guys. Now I don't want some 75-year-old owner out there tripping over the foul line, but that kind of passion, is what they need in sport. The owners need it,
right.
As opposed to. I understand that this is one business that you have out of probably 10 that you're running, and they're all money makers and they're all important to you, and it divides your time. I get that, but sports is the one thing where we get to live out passion all the time. Now, I don't care. If you're as old as me, I still get passionate about, Kentucky playing ball and things like that. And to be part of a franchise or part of a city where the owners don't care, and it shows, it just sucks the life out of you, And I get that with Tampa Bay. I get it with the Dolphins. I got Jacksonville. Jacksonville's at least trying to make a start. They got the tight end we were talking about,
right.
And things like that. But when you have a team in your city and they just obviously don't give a shit, it kills it.
Of course, that seems like almost every sports team in the state of Florida. It just seems like as long as we make enough to keep us in the black, who gives a shit? And that's why I keep making that comment about the Dolphins, that they're more interested in hosting. Because let's face it, there's more money to be made hosting a Super Bowl than winning one.
Yeah.
Because if you win one, guess what? You got to pay all those guys. Oh shit, we won. Oh fuck, we got to pay these guys. That's a better idea. Let's just host them. Let's just make a nice looking stadium. Come on in. I saw some pictures of what they did. It's kind of clever because I think they realize that the fan support is tailing off of the Dolphins. You've been to the stadium. It's shaped kind of like a stop sign.
Yeah.
What they're doing is in that stop sign is they're cutting out the 4 corners of the stadium and the upper deck. So now it's just like a side comes up this way, a side comes up this way, and you got the 2 ends that are coming up this way. So these corners are holes. They're going to put scoreboards. They're going to take the 2 giant scoreboards off the back and the front, put them in the corners, and then they're going to put a roof over it or like a tarp, kind of like what they do in the European stadiums. So now they're cutting down on capacity. Now you could charge even more of a premium for Super Bowl seats because, hey, stadium only holds, used to hold 73, now it's 65.
Yeah.
So now we can increase that because supply, all the old supply and demand thing. And that's what I get. And, and then all right, we'll sign a big name here just to keep interest and butts and make it look like we're doing something. And it's just like, I don't know what I mean.
Well, the thing is, the only power that we as fans have, we can't sign contracts, we can't pay these
is not
guys.
go.
Don't go.
Don't buy
Stop it.
merchandise.
Just stop it. I've been a Dolphins fan. Yeah, I've been a Dolphins fan since I moved down here in 1978 and became a bigger fan in '83 when Marino got signed. However, they've lost my interest. 30 years of mediocrity has gotten me to a point of just I'm not a fan anymore. I watch the games because I have to watch them, but I don't have that passion, that drive, oh my God. I mean, it used to be when the Dolphins would lose, it took me till Wednesday to get over it. Now I don't even watch it on ESPN if the highlights come out, But that's the only power that we have as fans. Don't give them your money. Show them that they have, if they're not going to put out a product, I'm not going to, if you don't care, I don't care.
And it's hard, it's crazy just how big sports are in this country is how.
Oh.
I mean, for as frustrated as these douchebags make me, it's like I'm an abuse victim. I continue to go back and it's like, it's almost more of a betrayal to root for another team than it is to fuck around on your spouse. Seriously, that's how it is. I was like, you fucked around on your wife? Yeah, that's what we did. You root for another team? Oh, you're a fucking scumbag. And it's like, there's this rag on me. I'll go after somebody if they, I thought you were a fan of this team. What happened? Where'd you all go?
And it's gotten to the point now, especially in the environment that we live in Florida, where you're looking at Tampa Bay, Miami, Jacksonville. In the NFL, you got the
Magic.
You
got the Heat. Believe we have 2 hockey teams.
Okay. But the idea is, it's turned me from a team guy into a player guy. I like players now because I don't have any team. Now, conversely, college basketball, Kentucky, that'll be my team till I die. But the Dolphins and all these other teams that are just putting out mediocre product year after year after year after year have just lost my interest. I just don't care. Now, for instance, I don't care about Denver. I don't care about the Broncos. I like Peyton Manning. So when Peyton leaves Denver, I will no longer care about the Broncos, what they do. I care this year because I like him. LeBron goes to Cleveland. I don't give a crap about Cleveland, but I like LeBron, so I want to see what happens with him. So I'm following those teams. But that's what they've generated now, to where with the advent of all the electronics, we can watch every game. We can watch every team play every game, whether they're across the country, across the world. It doesn't matter to us now. It's changed. You have to do something now to hold my interest, or I'm going to go watch somebody who is. And that's the way I do it.
This made me think of a question. There's another team, possible retraction. Denver. Name me 3 Denver Nuggets, famous Denver Nuggets. I can name one guy.
Yeah, there's a few, but I can't.
Alex English is the only guy I can name that ever played for Denver. Well, they had the guy who plays for the Knicks now. They drafted him.
Oh yeah, Carmelo Anthony.
But is that another team that just like they're just there? The Denver Nuggets. Yeah. I mean, first of all, the name.
And then
we should be fans of that team just because of name alone.
Yeah.
Just put a lightning bolt on it. But ironically, it was wear the same kind of colors as the Chargers too. It's funny.
But I mean, things like New York. Now, you think that New York would be a mecca?
That's what they call it, right?
That's what they call it. But look at the history. I mean, they made the playoffs like 3 times in the last 15 years.
All the Knicks I can name are off like the '94 squad.
Well,
they
sure.
had Mason and Starks and Charlie Ward.
I can go all the way back to Willis Reed and Clyde Frazier and all these.
Phil Jackson.
But Phil Jackson, yeah.
They can play a week.
But I mean, again, it's if you don't care, I have other options now. I mean, it's not like when I was growing up, you had to watch the Bengals because that was the hometown team. And that was the only game you got. So you became a Bengals fan, win, lose, or draw. Now it's not like that. If I don't like the Bengals, I can switch over and watch San Diego play or anybody play and become a fan of that team, even though I'm not in that area. So the idea, and I don't know if they're going to change it or if they're just, what we need to do as fans, stop going. And 2, the television networks need to go, Dolphins, I'm sorry, 8-8's not going to get you on Monday Night Football. just not going to
Yeah,
happen.
but
They're
I
not
wish
gonna
they
do
would do that. But
But
the
they're not
leagues and the money, and
I know.
you know the Thursday night, the everyone participates medal night, which is Thursday night football.
What was that one game where both teams were like 2-11?
I think it was Jacksonville and Tennessee.
Yeah, it was.
That's a staple of Thursday night football. You will always see a Jacksonville Tennessee game. You always see they'll throw the Dolphins in usually against Buffalo, like somebody really shitty. I think the year before was Dolphins and Bengals. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
But it astounds me some of the you know we're all as sports fans, we're all sheep, we're all lemmings. We all will just blindly it's on because we'll watch it. It's the same thing with television.
I get excited about it.
I mean, it's like the expression "jump the shark." The Dolphins have jumped a shitload of sharks. They've jumped SeaWorld, Ocean World, Miami Aquarium. They've jumped it.
Well, the thing about it is, and this is something that you guys need to realize. Again, you can't put an old man's head on a young man's body, but something I've realized now is things are only important because you make them important. They're important to you. For instance, I've seen people killing people over these little white rocks that we call diamonds.
Oh, those are crap.
Those things only have value because they're just rocks. But because we say they're valuable, now they're valuable. Sports, it's only important to you if you make it important to you. And so you choose what is important. So it's not important to me to watch a mediocre team that strives for mediocrity. It's important for me to have passion about what I do and to watch teams that are going to at least try to win. That's why I got excited about the Dallas Cowboys this year. They finally found a way to maybe get all out of the mediocrity game and get in and do something, and then they're going to trade DeMarco Murray away. So that kind of shoots that down. But the idea that things only have value because you give them value. So give your value to somebody who's going to give it back.
Well, speaking of something that's completely devalued, and recently they made a big deal of it because it was boxing on basically free television. And you brought this up before we came in. Manny Pacquiao was going to fight Floyd Mayweather. Okay, I don't know. All I know about Floyd Mayweather is he makes a lot of bets, and he's got a big mouth, and that's about it. And Pacquiao is this little Filipino guy that was beating the shit out of everyone. And I guess he recently lost. He never lost. What's going on?
Yeah, he lost. Yeah, he's lost a couple times.
So why is this fight between them so anticlimactic?
Well, it's anticlimactic. It's to the rest of the world, to you guys. Everybody's all going nuts. Oh, they're finally they've been trying to set this thing up for 5 years. And I'm going to tell you, 5 years ago, it was a good fight. 3 years ago, probably would have been a good fight. But let's face it, Pacquiao is now the mayor of Taco Bell or something, and Floyd Mayweather hasn't knocked anybody out in 10 years. Yeah, so I don't care. I mean,
what weight class are they?
They're 147, 150. You know,
is that like middleweight?
I don't know what the names of them are. They're just 154. But I just know the weight numbers.
Well, why'd you make me bring up boxing if you don't know anything?
I don't know about. I don't care what welterweight or flyweight or pissant weight. I don't care what the weight class is. I know what the weights are. You know, first I don't want to see a 120-pound guy fight. At 147, 154, they start throwing real man punches, and I'll go with that. You know, but this fight is anticlimactic to me because it should have happened 5 years ago. Mayweather was ducking. Mayweather, you ducked him. You're scared, son. You're scared, and he's been scared for 5 years. You know, fighting this guy because there was claims that he was doping and all that kind of that. Pacquiao was doping and taping his fist in a certain way and all that kind of stuff.
Ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, well, sorry, but again, Mayweather's the one that ruined boxing for me. I don't buy pay-per-views on it anymore because of Mayweather. He doesn't fight. He ducks, he covers. You can't hit him, but he can't hit you either. So you watch.
So how does he win all the time?
Points. I get a couple of these in. I don't hurt you. I don't even make you sweat, but I hit you a couple times with jabs, and so I win that round. So the person who wins the most rounds, wins the fight. And he's Floyd Mayweather. He's undefeated. So unless you knock him out, you're not going to win the fight. And so I want to be excited about this fight. I'm just not. It should have happened 5 years ago. I don't like Mayweather. I don't like Mayweather's style. I don't like his mouth. But I don't like this style of fighting the most. And Pacquiao's going to try to come in there. Mayweather's going to duck and cover. And Mayweather may actually have to throw a punch because Pacquiao's going to be coming at him. But I mean, again, 9.5 years, guys had 12 fights. 10 of them have gone the whole, the distance, which means it goes to the judges, which I think go till somebody is knocked out, But they don't do that. Two of his last three haven't even been, unanimous decisions. So he's not even winning unanimously against with the judges. So I don't like it. I don't like I'm done. 5 years ago, this would have been a good fight. It's not going to be now. But you guys are going to buy it. You're going to make this the biggest seller of all time. And here's what I propose we do. Don't buy it. Let's go to a sports bar, watch it. We'll spend $20 for the cover charge as opposed to the $100 that HBO is charging for this thing. That gives us $80 to buy beer and wings, flirt with the server, have a good night out, and then when this boring ass fight ends, it's going to, with a decision for Mayweather and no punches thrown, we'll at least have had some beer and wings and a good night out.
The worst part is you pay that $20 cover charge and the thing gets over.
Oh, yeah.
Like when Tyson fought Michael Spinks, almost at Leon. Michael Spinks, and he beat the shit out of him in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, they didn't used to do that. Sports bars didn't used to. I mean, if you were there for even as much as 2 or 3 years ago, now they started to realize, hey, we're going to show this. We're going to, but still, paying $20 for it, getting $80 worth of beer and wings, as opposed to sitting here going, please somebody hit somebody. Please. Somebody
yeah, which is funny because I always scratch my head. I'm like, who the hell would pay that kind of money for that? And you see what you pay for the NFL ticket. I'm like, no room. Well, I haven't paid for it, although this year I might be.
My sister's not going to help you out.
No. Well, no. The problem is now since AT&T merged with DirecTV, they got a lot more money, and they're not as desperate because they're AT&T. You want to leave?
Okay.
See ya. We don't fucking need you.
We got some other folks.
Speaking of leaving, that's it, man. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Let's do that.
So, thanks again for tuning in. This is our first YouTube broadcast. What is your YouTube?
My YouTube channel.
Well, if you found it, obviously we're here, but for those on the audio end of it who would hear this,
I do a YouTube show called Charlie India Talks Sports. If you search for the whole,
that's an original title.
Well, I had to make it easy because these guys. So
CITS.
So anyway, but look for the whole thing. There's a couple 3 episodes on there now. We'll have more going up, and so
you can find us on the Facebook, Ron 2 Ends Mexico, or the Stiff Arm with Ron Mexico is also on Facebook.
we're all over the place.
Email us, TSAwRM, at gmail.com, or Ron Mexico, the Ron Mexico Show at yahoo.com. Those both work as well.
Cool.
Charlie, thanks again.
All right, buddy.
And this is Ron Mexico saying,